There is a difference between cutting grass and manicuring a lawn. And that alone increases the price of what you do for a living.
The biggest piece of pushback, putting myself in the shoes of a business owner that someone would probably give to that advice is, man, I don't have time in the busy season to train my guys. Maybe it's on the schedule and, schedule fills up. The most common thing that we see is they're like, oh, well, we're just not going to do training today. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, just tell your team, you know what, guys? Hey, training really sucks anyways, and I didn't really want to train you guys, and so we got other stuff to do. Let's go hit the road.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lawn Care Millionaire, where we interview experts and bring you content that's going to make you a lawn care millionaire. We're your hosts today, Ryan and Marlene. I'm a content creator for field service businesses with over 10 years of experience, and Marlene is a marketing manager for field services with over 7 years of experience. So today we are here with Chris Crew, president of the Blue Collar Success Group, and we're going to be talking about coaching and retention. Chris, welcome to Lawn Care Millionaire channel.
Oh,
welcome,
thank
Chris.
you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for having us in today.
Of course. Chris, I have a quick question for you that I think is a pain point in the lawn care industry. What would you say to specifically lawn care businesses that wait until slow season to focus on training specifically?
So Marlene, this is a loaded question, but I'll do my best to answer the question without coming across harsh. In any industry, period. But let me go to industries that are very seasonal. Businesses that use slow season to train are not capitalizing on real opportunity. And the reason why, if you look at how the brain works and how retention happens, retention increases if the thing that I'm being taught, I can immediately put it into practice. So whether it's a technical thing with my hands that I've got to technically do, like, if I give you an example, like when I look at a well manicured lawn, I can tell you if the person that cut that cares or not. Because there's a difference between cutting grass and manicuring a lawn. Let me say that again. There is a difference between cutting grass and manicuring a lawn. And that alone increases the price of what you do for a living. You don't just cut grass. You manicure lawns. You transform people's yards to be something that's admirable, right? We talk about keeping up with the Joneses, right? When someone drives past a home that has curb appeal, I always look at the landscaping, always. And I always look at how the yard is cut. Not everybody does that the same. So if I'm going to train someone how to do that in slow season, and then it's another 2, 3, 4 months before they go do it, they've lost that out of their memory. So training in slow season oftentimes is the best time to increase, the challenges. And I get it. It makes sense, right? We got nothing better to do. Let's train. Well, I want you as a listener today to challenge yourself of what you think training is and what the purpose that training serves. And I'm just going to give you my perspective for a moment. Training is introducing new concepts or ideas. Training is reinforcing those skills or ideas. Training is putting into application those skills. So that's what training is. What does training do? Overall, it just increases the skill. And I'll ask the question, if you could increase the skill of your team members, would it make your job easier, better, and more profitable? Yes or no?
The answer is almost always going to be yes.
So if I know that I'm doing it to increase skill and I know that I do it to introduce new topics, so what I would encourage is to think about your training in a 12-month plan. So during busy season, what are the things we need to train on that they can go take and apply right away? That'll make us a better business, make us generate better revenue, make us have a better quality product. Those are the things you train during busy season. What are the things that you train during off season? Introducing new concepts and ideas. That's what you train in slow season. Because now I don't have to go out and apply that stuff. I can literally go, all right, great. We're going to take 3 weeks to cover, this particular topic, whether it could be a new piece of equipment and how it works. I want to have that piece of equipment in the office, in the shop. Maybe we decided that we're going to not only move to that, maybe we're going to bring in some new some new services that we're going to offer. And it might be an opportunity to get your team educated about the services, but not with the intention that they've got to go out and sell those services today, because those team members need time to absorb that information. And then you get to circle back around and reinforce it before it becomes busy season again. So Marlene, I don't know if that helps answer the question or not, but train year round, but train the informational knowledge stuff, introduction of new stuff in the slower season where I've got time to continue reinforce it. Don't be training them things that are going to increase revenue that day that they're not going to get to go apply, because then when you get to busy season, you're going to be pounding your head against the wall going, I've told them to do it this way. I've showed them how to. That was back before they had an opportunity to let it really sink in and put it into practice.
No, 100% that answers the questions. And I think anybody listening right now, or everyone listening right now in the lawn care business industry, can relate to year-round training and best times to train and what to focus on depending on the time of the year. So thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that piece with us.
Great advice. The biggest piece of pushback, putting myself in the shoes of a business owner that someone would probably give to that advice, is, man, I don't have time in the busy season to train my guys. Maybe it's on the schedule and, schedule fills up. The most common thing that we see is they're like, oh, well, we're just not going to do training today. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, just tell your team, you know what, guys, hey, training really sucks anyways. And I didn't really want to train you guys. And so we got other stuff to do. Let's go hit the road. And I say that comical.
Of course.
There's things that you say, and then there's how it's received. And no matter what you say, what you just heard me say is how it'll be received. Because the moment that you don't make training a priority, it won't be a priority, which means your team won't make it a priority. They don't see it as a priority. And I'm going to say this. Businesses get wrecked when it's busy. It just doesn't show up till it slows down. Let me say that again. All the things that go wrong usually happen during busy season. It's harvest time. It's the best time to capitalize on additional services, revenue, increased skill. Like you've got to make it a priority, because if I truly believe that the purpose of training is to make my team better, which means they're going to be more valuable, which means they're going to be worth more to me because they generate better. What better time than to get them knowledge and information than during a time where they could go out and have plenty of opportunities to execute on the training that I just gave them, instead of, hey, you know what, we're too busy. Y'all just go do what you've always been doing on autopilot. And that's where we've got to interrupt the pattern that the program that your brain is running on, because the industry has programmed you this way. This is how it works. I love what Ralph Waldorf Emerson, he said, the realistic man spends his entire world being conformed, or his entire life being conformed to the world, where the unreasonable man spends his entire life trying to get the world to be around who he is and what he does. Therefore, all progress begins with the unreasonable man. And so I'm saying to listeners today, find some ways that you need to become unreasonable about how you want to operate your business. And you're going to meet some resistance with it. You're going to. But you miss 1,000% of the shots that you don't take. But if you do the same thing you've been doing, you're going to get the same thing you've always got. There you go. Make some decisions.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Going back to however you understood it, that's how you're going to receive it. I think that's 100% true.
That are in the same local area. What are some effective strategies that you've seen, not just for finding talent, but also from keeping them from jumping over to the competition?
What's the reason why someone would want to stay with your company? Well, let me just back up. Number one, it's how you pay. I didn't say what you pay. I said how you pay. Let me just be very clear about that. So if I'm a lawn care professional and I pay my people by the hour, I'm going to get a certain result from that. However, if I paid them by the job, I might have someone that might be willing to hustle a little harder to get things done more, where I could only do 6 lawns in one day. If I got paid by the job, I might squeeze in a 7th, potentially 8th, because I realize that I'm not trading time for money. So I'll leave it at that. You've got to think a little differently. So number one, how you pay matters and what benefits you supply. That doesn't mean benefits are not just medical insurance, right? It's vacation. It's all the other stuff. It's the stuff that you don't think about that's a benefit. Do you supply them? Example with PPP. Do you supply them with that? Do you supply them with hats? Do you supply them with gaiters? Do you supply them with dry fits? What do you do differently? And then I go, well, that's an expense to the business. And I say, oh, well, it's also a missed opportunity to market my business so that when people show up to provide service at my house, I don't just have some Joe and Ann outside in whatever clothes they wanted to wear to that day. I put them in branded clothing so I can brand my company. So it's a marketing initiative. In addition to that, it's a benefit to team members. Number 2 is culture. Okay. The culture of the business matters. Number 3 is what kind of opportunity exists in your organization today. If I come to work for you just to cut grass, that's a dead end job. Show me what opportunity exists for me, which is number 4. What will you do to train me to help me take advantage of that opportunity that you're saying is going to be there, right? So when I start thinking about, I'm going to need sales reps in this business. And when you start thinking, it's more than just going and cutting grass. Let me say this. The kids in high school do that. That's who your competition is when you cut grass. Okay. The kids in high school, that's your competition. Let's just face it for what it is. It is. How do you then make kids that cut grass no longer a competitor? You become a professional at lawn manicure, like you're manicuring lawn. And here's the things that we do differently, right? When I think of 0-turn radius mowers, those are fantastic, except for when the person operating it makes a 0-turn in your beautiful grass, and then now I've got a bald spot because they cut it in the same pattern all the time. Well, what we know is you can't cut that grass in the same pattern all the time, or it's always going to start showing those wear marks the same way. So you're the professional. Figure out what the school kids are not doing that you can do better. And when you do that extremely well, nobody wants to leave because you can pay better. You can offer a better environment culture-wise. You can show them that opportunity is going to exist, right? Hey, I'm not going to need people that, example, you cut grass and then all of a sudden, ta-da, you run your own crew and that's what you do. Well, that's a dead-end job. Like, could I potentially then have somebody that could oversee scheduling as I build and grow my business where I've got multiple crews? Do I have somebody who is who's inside generating leads for people? Do I have people that are selling, when they're going out, they're selling our services? Like, I got to tell you, and I'm telling you this as a homeowner, it is the most archaic home service industry there is right now. Lawn care professionals just don't, for the most part as an industry, just don't get it. The ones that do get it, they just eke out the competition. And I'm going to say this. The moment that you try to compete with the high school kids, you're only competing on one thing: price. And when you compete on price, it's a race to the bottom. And that's a losing proposition.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Speaking of the high school kid, lastly, I think for you, Chris, any piece of advice to the business owners or hiring managers in lawn care who are hesitant to perhaps bring in someone fresh to the industry because they lack experience or because they're of the mentality that, well, they're young, they're only going to use my business as a stepping stone into their career? what would you say to those who have that mentality of not being open-minded to kind of welcome in that fresh talent to their business?
Scarcity mindset's going to ruin your business.
Yeah.
I know that sounds very blunt, but that is a scarcity mindset. That's what that is. A scarcity mindset puts you in fight or flight mode, and you won't make moves when you're in a scarcity mindset. And so if I've got, like, what's the disadvantage of that? Because think about this, when are they going to want to work for you? During the busy season when you need added headcount, and then they go back to school, I feel like it's a perfect opportunity, right? Like, to heavy up on my workforce and get younger kids into my business, and all of a sudden I might find a place where I want to reside for a long time because I learned it at a younger age. And are there going to be people that are going to come and learn and then move on to bigger things, in their mind, bigger things? Yeah. But let me ask you this question. If you focused on number 3 that I talked about, which is provide me opportunity, I'm the place where you want to go. I'm the place where you want to be, right? There's no good people. You're right. There aren't. And yet there's people all around you scaling their business. You get to pick which excuse you want to make when you can't grow your business. And I know I'm coming at you guys a little hard right now, but sometimes people need some tough love to kind of get them to wake up.
Yeah. You haven't said anything I disagree with yet, so.
Awesome. That's good.
Yeah. So talk about not competing with the high school kids, maybe hire them. We could talk a little bit about culture and sort of bringing in blank slates and stuff. Let me throw that question at you, Chris. When it comes to hiring, a lot of times people will look at two candidates, somebody who is maybe younger, maybe this is their first job, they're fresh out of high school, maybe a little bit of experience, and they've got someone who's seasoned, decade plus in the industry. One of the things that you'd said in another conversation we had on the Profit Roadmap was around when you hire someone with experience, you're hiring them with their habits. Mm-hmm. And then when you hire somebody who, is inexperienced, there might be some technical challenges. You can overcome those. But they're sort of a blank slate. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Different times, or I'm going to call, I'm going to say seasons. And I don't mean like spring, summer, fall, winter. Not like there's seasons in a business. And my business is going to go through seasons as it grows, right? There'll be things that work really well during this season, and then as I kind of plateau my business, that only gets me so far, and it's going to force me to start thinking a little bit differently and using different tactics. And so I'm going to say that both of those can exist in the same business at the same time, where I am looking for someone seasoned, but I'm also looking for the green that I can shape and mold myself. And there's a good, healthy mix of that if I've got the right team members that are the seasoned people that have the ability to bring up the next generation in my business, right? And so when we look at that culture, it also creates a very dynamic culture in the fact that I've got seasoned people, but I've got people that have never done this before. Those people are going to have a different perspective of things that my seasoned people don't. And if I'm coachable, I might see things through another lens that opens up a whole new opportunity. So actually, untrained eyes and ears in your business can be a very good thing if you're willing to listen to them.
Yeah, masterfully put. All right, Chris, if there's anybody that wants to learn more from you or from Blue Collar Success Group, what's the best place to find you?
Our website's the best place to find who we are and what we do at thebluecollarsuccessgroup.com. In addition to that, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, all of those areas are also another great place to find us from a content perspective. So if we've got people that are looking for content to help grow their business and build their business, it's free content that's on our social media channels.
Well, thank you, Chris, for sharing your knowledge and insights with our Lawn Care Millionaire audience. Please check Chris out. He also has a coaching group, which I think would be successful for absolutely anybody out there looking to grow their business.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me in today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Take it easy. We'll see you around.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir.